I got a band-aid in IELTS speaking, and for this I had to learn to think in English. In this video, I'm going to tell you how I learned to think in English and how I became fluent in a very short period of time. Yes, so here is how I have been learning the English definitions of words. In short, when you write, you actually think in English. So here is how I try to predict what the speaker is going to say, and I try to think in English. Don't be nervous like Mr. Bean. Despite learning English for decades, many of us are not fluent enough in English because we cannot think in English. But how can we think in English? Is this impossible? Is there any simple trick that works? I'm going to answer all these questions, and I'm going to offer 7 practical tips on how to think in English. Although I'm a non-native English speaker like you, I've learned to speak English more like native English speakers. In case you do not know me, my name is Abadat and I'm an educator based in Dhaka, Bangladesh. I've got an MA in linguistics, which is the science of language, and I've got another MA in education from the Malaysian campus of Nottingham University, which is a British university. First, let me explain why we can't think in English.
If you cannot think in English, you can never be fluent in English.
The default language of our brain is our native language. As non-native English speakers, whenever we try to speak English, we are used to thinking in our native language first, and then we translate the ideas into English. As a result, our fluency is affected. If we can skip the first 2 stages, we can easily become fluent in English. Here are my 7 tips on how to think in English. First, learn the English definitions of words. Yes, so here is how I have been learning the English definitions of words. I use the online version of the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary. What I do is, I type a word in the search box of this dictionary. I try to define it by myself first. Well, what is a story? A story is a narrative. It has usually some people and some actions are there. I will compare my definition with that of the dictionary. The dictionary says it's a description of events and people that the writer or speaker has invented in order to entertain people. Alright, so the next thing I do is I choose another word randomly from this page.
I've been learning at least 5 words this way every day.
Sometimes we cannot find or remember some words while talking in English. This is called word searches, and word searches negatively affect our fluency. Let me show you an example. If I cannot remember the word with in this sentence, my brother is working my brother is working in the presence of your brother, company of your brother. Because I learned that with means in the presence of or in the company of, my brain automatically suggests the alternative phrases or words. Similarly, I learned that vocabulary means a stock of words and diction means word choice. So this is how we can think in English. More and more practical tips are coming up, so keep watching. Number 2, write in English. When you write in English, you actually think in English. Writing is not just writing. According to David Noonan, a famous linguist of this time, it is the physical act of committing words or ideas to paper, and it is the mental work of inventing ideas, thinking about how to express them, and organizing these ideas into statements. In short, when you write, you actually think in English. Writing in English will boost your ability to think in English. What can you write? If you don't know what to write, start journaling. Start writing personal daily journals. You can write a gratitude journal where you will note down things that you are grateful for. You can write a visualization journal where you will note down what you intend to do, what you plan to do in the next 2, 3 or 5 years. You can write a reflection journal where you will note down all your bad experiences and what you have learned from those experiences. So writing in English will boost your ability to think in English. This is just the beginning. More and more important ideas are coming up, so keep watching. Number 3, in order to think in English, acquire deep knowledge of English language. Researchers claim that your knowledge of a language limits your ability to think in that language. This is called linguistic determinism. Linguistic determinism is the concept that language and its structures limit and determine human knowledge or thought. Let me explain. Suppose you have learned around 10,000 English words. In contrast, you've learned only 4,000 words of French. Which language do you think you will be more fluent in? Your brain will automatically find it easy to think in English, as your brain has got more properties of English in your brain. In short, if you have deep knowledge of English vocabulary and English grammar, it will help you to think in English. The next tip is the most important one. 4 more brilliant ideas are coming up, so keep watching. Try to predict what the speaker is going to say and try to say that. And then listen to the speaker again and compare your words with those of theirs. So here is how I try to predict what the speaker is going to say, and I try to think in English.
I am willing to listen to what others have to say.
I also want other people to listen to what I say.
I am willing to go forward even when I feel alone.
I'm not only willing to go forward, but also I'd like to go forward with other people.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is how I try to predict what the speaker is going to say, and I also try to think in English. Listen to 1 or 2 sentences of the speakers, and then I try to predict what the speaker is going to say next. This will push you hard to think in English and be fluent in English. In this video, I've shared some original ideas about how to become fluent in a very short period of time. So watch this. Number 5. To think in English, be absorbed in English. Watch English videos, listen to English podcasts, and listen to English audio programs. Although many teachers suggest the idea of watching English movies, personally I don't like the idea of watching movies because they are too much time consuming. When your purpose is to learn English, instead of enjoying entertainment, you should watch documentaries, debates, TED Talk videos, British parliamentary sessions. Sorry to interrupt. If you have any questions, feel free to write it in the comment section. I'm always there to respond to your questions. More practical tips are coming up. Keep watching. Number 6. Take actions. Watch English videos and try to express your opinion about that video in English. If you don't take any actions, if you don't do anything, you will experience no improvement. While most teachers on YouTube suggest people to watch English videos only, I ask people to take actions. Give it a pause and try to express your opinion and emotions on the same topic, and then continue watching the video again. And if you continue doing this for a longer period of time, you will start thinking in English. That brings us to number 7. Number 7. Practice speaking English every day so that your brain gets the program of thinking in English. If you don't find any partner, talk to yourself in English. Although talking to yourself in the presence of other people is dangerous. They might think that you are off the nuts or you have become crazy. Talking to yourself alone is quite fine, and it's an effective strategy of thinking in English. Spend some time alone. When you are alone, your brain is more creative than it is in the presence of many people, because you are not worried about what other people will think and say if you speak in English. In fact, you are thinking in a relaxed atmosphere. Turn on the screen recorder of your phone and try to answer IELTS speaking model questions. There are some websites and some mobile applications that will provide you with a lot of model questions. For example, IELTS Speaking Pro is one of them. If ever you have any opportunity to speak in English, make the best use of this opportunity. Don't be nervous like Mr. Bean. Interestingly, if you push yourself hard to speak in situations like these, your brain will automatically generate brilliant ideas and will make you more and more fluent in real life in future. Your brain will automatically generate and produce new ideas. For example, Mr. Bean was forced to talk on this occasion, and interestingly, ultimately, he delivered a very brilliant speech and he was appreciated. His effort was appreciated by everyone. If you follow these simple tips, I'm sure you will be able to think in English and eventually you will be fluent in English. Win your luck. Thank you. Do me a favor, just press the like button of this video once. If you press the like button of this video once, YouTube will share this video with many other motivated learners like you. So thank you.